on the rolling green. Clubs in the bag, I've got a dream. From one small
Well, good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, and I think we've got about 80 some odd days before the PGA Merchandise Show kicks off. And this is old Uncle Randy once again. It's our 2026 PGA preview on our Golf and Golfers Travel Show. And I am enjoying having a great conversation with a young man that's getting ready to play some golf in Florida. I decided to continue on with the show once I heard where he's playing, not let my anger get in the way, but happy to be having a really good time with a really cool guy. He represents a company called TandS Metals and Insignia, and he's going to be coming to the PGA Show for the first time. And it's Chris Wilkins, who is the CEO, and he and I were talking about his experience 2 years ago coming to the PGA Show and understanding that 13 miles of aisles and a building that's about a half-mile long where you can hit golf balls inside is a overwhelming experience. So good morning, Chris. How are you doing?
I'm really good, Randy. Thank you for having me on your show.
Well, I welcome you, even though you're playing Sawgrass today. It's okay. I'll let that harmful comment just go out of the way. Hey, look at the joy
Randy,
look at the joy in his face. He can't help but laughing. It's all good.
Well, Randy, when you've come all the way from Sydney to play Sawgrass and try and tame that island green, I don't know whether that's excitement or fear in my face.
Don't worry about it because there's only roughly 1 million golf balls hit into the pond every year. So you'll be in good company if you get on the green, but if not, you'll just be with your brethren that think the same thing. It's just an easy shot, just a little flip wedge. Don't worry about it. So yeah,
I'll remember that standing on the tee. I'll remember that. Thank you for that advice.
not a problem. Not a problem. It's a great place. Anyway, we're talking about or talking with Chris because he went to the PGA Show a couple of years ago and trying to figure out where his company fits in. And if you go to his website, which is TandS Metals, that's TandS Metals.com. It's a beautiful website. It tells the history, the legacy of the very elite type of products that they make and for the best of the best. So, Chris, take it away and tell us your expectations and why you decided to come all the way to Florida, not only to play golf, but attend the PGA Show.
Thanks, Randy. Yeah, and if I can start a little bit and give you and some of your listeners and watchers a bit of an idea of where we've come from. My mum and dad started business 40 years ago, last July or July just passed, and on their kitchen table. And as a young kid, I remember seeing how they built that over many years. And at the start of the COVID sort of era, I had the opportunity to take the business over, which I'd sort of always thought that I might after having a 30-year career as a realtor and owning, being a broker owner for a lot of those years, having a real love for the game of golf, and we had a big market share in Australia with the golf world and the golf community. We do a lot of work for corporate schools and colleges and also government back in Australia, and thought that America would be a great place to look at expanding the business. Obviously, it's such a big market in all of those areas that we specialize in. I jumped on a plane and came over to the PGA Show, and it probably took me 6 months to conceive what I saw, to be honest with you. It was just quite amazing. I think I was saying to you, from all the Acushnet representatives, your Titleist guys in their black pants and white jackets, to the size of their zip code of a stand. I described it when I got back home, to whole lots of other suppliers that were there. It was just quite amazing, quite a feat. Everything from how they put it together to the businesses that are involved. So I must admit, I walked away after that thinking maybe it's not for us. I believe our product is second to none and without peer. And I might be a bit biased in saying that, but our quality and the feedback that we're getting so far here on the ground in the US from the general managers of some of the really well-known clubs. I know one of our first experiences was with a gentleman, and I won't mention his name, but he's a lovely man, and we're still in contact with him. But he was the GM at a club in Honolulu, at Wailea, and he said to us, Trevor, and Trevor's my dad. He said, I've just never seen anything like this. It's so refreshing. So I do feel that we've got a fabulous product, and I thought that we weren't, or the right place for us wasn't at the PGA Show to exhibit anyway, was that we weren't specifically tailored for the merchandise tent. Certainly we could supply the merchandise tent, but I thought that our product was a little bit of a higher level than that, and was more suited to the associations, the organizations, the USGA, the PGA of America. We do a lot of work for Golf Australia, a lot of work for the PGA of Australia, but also the private membership clubs that are across your amazing country here as well. So we've decided to go back.
Yeah.
Or we went back last year, but we've decided to exhibit this year because I suppose like what we like to say back at home in Australia, let's just give it a go. So we're going to be there in January, and we're quite excited for the experience, and see where it leads us. We've certainly made a whole lot of contacts and connections and inroads into the golf world here in America already. So it's going to be great reconnecting with some of those people that we've met in our previous trips and adventures in the last 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, what's been very interesting for me is that we don't advertise our shows, but since I started doing these just through our different layers, which I think I sent to you, we've been averaging about 300,000 people that are watching these previews. Now that's a lot of people, and that's for a 30-day period, I guess, best way to say that, and over a 90-day period, we just added up this yesterday, it was over 3.5 million that have watched all our different platforms. And
congratulations, that's amazing.
Well, I get up and I my wife and I have a great relationship, and I go, hey man, I got it. It's so silly. It's just this is you are the 5,001st interview I've done over the past 10 years. And so we've had a few, and we've had golf shows and travel shows. And by the way, reading your website, you do have a part of it that looks and protects sustainability and efforts along those lines. And those are always important to us, because one of my major companies, where this will actually go out on the front page on Live Eco Style, we've had in the background for destinations and places, our global eco travel, eco certification process. So you can actually define what you're doing, and you just send it to us. There's no cost for doing it. But basically, we'll send you, and you from what you're doing, you already qualify from our standpoint in the mindful meaningfulness that you have in the world of sustainable practices, which the PGA Show started, I think, last year finally. And but sustainability is going to be a big part of it. But we'll send you that information.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful website, and I always look at things from a marketing standpoint, because one year I did do about 12 of those big old booths you're talking about. I was in the trade show business as a rep, not owning the company, but you have to go down there and set them up. And the night before that show, I tell everybody on these shows, you're not going to believe what you're going to see the night before the show. It is just total mayhem and chaos. Crazy. I mean, propane blowing in the air and forklifts there, and you're not going to believe it's going to come together in 8 hours. And it always.
I'm a very curious guy, Randy, for life and business and sport, and how things come to your dining table, or how things are presented to you on television, or the players in an NBA team, how they actually get to the court, what happens in the hours before, and I've sort of witnessed what goes on when I've sort of had a wander over there on the day before the show opens, and I think that's going to be a big curious. I might just take up a chair and just watch it for a couple of
Well,
hours.
I'll
I
tell
think,
you what, I'll partner up with you because I love that day.
yeah,
It's so exciting to me. The demo day is that day. You can go out to Orange County golf course and hit clubs if you want, but typically I'll do that like in the morning, but
yes,
then I'll go to the show in the afternoon and go, yeah, this is going to be okay tomorrow. Sure. Yeah, no, there's no way. The
yeah,
one thing after 9/11, it was sort of just a quick story. Before 9/11, I was doing a booth for a synthetic uh, green company. And I said, and they had just invented the spin technology you could determine how far golf balls get,
right.
just through electronic technology. That was the first year. I said, well, let's quick net this in the middle of the aisle here and let's have a long drive contest, night before the show. So we set up this 40-yard indoor net and everything was going well until one ball hit the top aluminum at the end of the net. This is down the center aisle. And that ball came back as fast as it went down that, and it just continued down the center aisle. And I was like, "Well, that's interesting. That'll get people's attention." But
Well, remembering correctly, I think you've got a lot of the golf buggies and some of the course maintenance products there on that center aisle. It could have been a real
it was
poker machine,
amazing to
couldn't it?
watch the ball
Yeah.
just go. But it became the hit of the show, impromptu. I mean, it was every hour guys come over and we went over into one of the areas and had somebody donate a trophy. But then after 9/11, I love that show. And again, we were doing synthetics, but the show was shrinking due to trade shows not happening. And they were needing some interesting ideas to fill up the booth or the landscape. I said, well, let's just do an indoor equipment testing center. Well, I was the one that came up with that idea, and they implemented that 20 years
Wow.
ago. So we had to net the whole end. You probably saw it the first time you were.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's
And
one of the things that left me in awe when I left there and walked back to my hotel for the first day. It's just, yeah, and I don't think it was. I think it was one of about three that year as well. I think
well,
TrackMan and Top Tracer.
I'll show you the email I got where I suggested it. We flew down there in the June of that year, and they said, "Yeah, we'll think that this will make a nice booth for you guys." And I said, "Yeah, and you want me to pay $12 million for a 200,000 square foot booth? That's not happening. We'll come down here and build you an equipment testing center for the good of the game." And it turned out. I mean, we all got together and figured out how to do it, and we were responsible
Well
the
done.
first year, and then they kept on doing it year after year. But it was one of those ideas old Uncle Randy said, "Oh, good idea. Now we got to go do it."
Yeah,
So now I just go down there and I stay in International Drive. But can you imagine that show back in the 80s having 200,000 people coming to it in a building half that size? I mean, it was crazy, great times. But well, back to
I can imagine how it's developed. Yeah,
well, it's just incredible. And I think what an interesting niche that you're gonna have some really interesting conversations. I mean, it to get into the people that you want to talk with, um, maybe you know what you're doing in your business. I'm sure you're well adapted to it. It's just going to be interesting because the need that you're going to fill down there, there's been sort of in my opinion, a shallowing of people that are presenting nice trophies. I love nice trophies. I do a lot of historical features, and in my own club, when I heard what you told me this morning of designing trophies, even though we're just a middle of the road, been here forever kind of country club, I've always wanted to have a nice trophy for, our champions, and we just never have had one.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
it's going to
yeah.
be, I think that's where in the niche you're trying to fit because, in the term bespoke industry, I think that's what you're trying to fill, if I'm correct with that.
You're
Defining.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And we see when it comes to first prize awards and trophies here in the US, we see obviously there's the traditional cup style
Right.
um, models, but we see a lot of timber um, and steel, with their crafted bulls or different sorts of animals or bridges and those sorts of things. And sometimes you can sort of relate back to um, a tradition with the tournament or the area where the tournament's held. But I think something that has a little bit more class and there's a little bit more bespoke is an award that holds the test of time.
Right.
We found that over, and more so, obviously, I've learned that through my dad's experience of the 45 years or 40 years that he's been running the company. So, we're excited to be there. And I think if I can ask you one question before I forget, is what would be your biggest tip? What do you think I need to have on my wrist as a reminder every day when I'm there?
How big is your booth going to be?
We've only started small. It's going to be 10 by 10.
Good.
But you got to start somewhere, and I suppose we're putting our toe in the water.
Oh, no, you're doing
as a way to describe it.
Absolutely right. As I say, one year I was representing a small little, at the time, putter company, 10 by 10, and we put a putter in this one pro's hands, who gave it to another pro hands, and that pro went out and won the US Open that year. So, I mean, that 10 by 10,
Wow.
still a great.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it was the putter that Payne Stewart used, and unfortunately, that year passed. But it was the Seymour Putter Company, and I love that company. The first tip I give everybody is wear really comfortable shoes. Don't care about they shine. Don't worry about any of that.
What color they are? Yeah.
Nobody cares. You're going to see everybody in those. Do not wear, in my opinion, leather shoes.
Yes.
If you're staying on International Drive, don't take your car, Uber it, because they'll take you right to the south end of the building. And when it rains, you don't have a mile-long walk to your car in the parking lot. But in the show itself, that is interesting. I'm only doing a few. I'll probably end up doing about, I don't know, 60 or 70 of these. But I'll be very interested in coming over and visiting with you, and I think making introductions. I'll share with you in an email after this.
Thank you.
There's no reason for me to give away some secrets publicly, but there is definitely a way to use information that's available to be, as they say, have a little strategery, in your way to go down there. I think if you have, certainly some handouts that you can give to people and not to everybody, you want people to really good, good buyers and that. But are you taking anybody else going to be working your booth other than yourself?
Yes, there is. And excuse me, I lovingly say that I roll out the founder when I need him, and the founder being my dad. I don't know how he quite took to that the first few times that I described him as that, but
Wow.
he's embraced it now.
Yeah.
He's sitting out on the terrace having some breakfast while I'm talking to you this morning. So I think he likes being rolled out these days as the founder. But he's coming to play golf later. He still hits the ball well, and he'll be with us at the show. And there's a couple of other mates of mine that have golf related businesses as well that will be there adding a hand or two during the couple of days. So, but predominantly just my dad and myself.
Yeah, if you get a chance, try to take some time every day to go visit other booths. Look at and get because everybody is always forward thinking because they want to represent the best of what they're doing. But the significant people of these businesses are going to be there, and early in the morning. And there is, since I have media credentials, I'll try to line up a lunch or a breakfast for you and I to go up to the media room. And if I forget to send you an email, send me an email to remind me to do that.
Thank you.
Because that's a very interesting place. they're round tables, and you'll be sitting at a table. You never know where those conversations go. And some of my most interesting times have been, I've gone to the media center and sat there for 5 hours, and never even went down to the show and got more
Yeah,
done
got to
sitting up
show.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
it's
know what you mean. It's all about talking to people, Randy, and I think coming from where I came from, uh, in the property and real estate world, it's set me up well for this new part of, or this new adventure. And I love talking in particular, like we are now, about golf and all
yeah,
things golf. And I'm fortunate to come from a country where we've had great representation of professional golfers across the world,
yeah,
um, both currently and in the past. And it's great, as an example, seeing some of the guys that I grew up with, and when I say that, I describe that being of a similar sort of age, where they're now playing on the Champions Tour here in the US, and seeing them do really well. So it's not hard to sit me down with a conversation and talk golf and sport.
Dude, did the golfer Doug Sanders ever cross your mind? Are you old enough to remember Doug?
I remember the name. Yeah, I can't
The
say that
name?
I saw him play too often, but
Well,
yes.
he was a very colorful player back in the 60s. When color TV came to TV, he started wearing blue patent leather shoes, and he was very, very colorful. And he became a very good friend of mine. He missed an 18-inch putt in 1970 or 71, and he lost in the playoff to Nicholas the next day in the Open. And so years ago, we were on one of the putting greens I had built there for the show, and we were talking about, I lamented that fact. I miss getting to I'm not that good a golfer. I played in a lot of qualifyings, and one day I probably would not have gone and played in the US Open if I had qualified, because I just wasn't that good.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but Doug and I hit it off as friends, and Doug always had these great stories and this great history. And the reason I say that is that he had one of the largest memorabilia collections in the world. It's now down in a museum down in Georgia. And
Wow.
I was go and I'd visit with him he would call me every Sunday night, and we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with his memorabilia collection. But it ended up being in a museum actually in Georgia. But it was worth probably nearly $1 billion at the end. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so what the niche that I see you in this historical field that I can tell that you have for the game, and having the importance of having your dad with you, there's nothing more important than having the ability to go spend time with your dad. And I don't care what dad.
Yeah, yeah.
I have 4 sons, and they all live within a half an hour, and one um you just, those are just the absolute best times. And
Yeah, yeah, it'll be
so
good.
I tell you what, this has just been great. We could sit and talk all day, and I can't wait to see you at the show. But I want everybody to remember his booth. You go to the show is at 3293. It's at a great place in the middle of the show, and it's gonna be worth going over and building a legacy, because when you have something that you're representing, you're not just buying one thing for a moment. You're buying a historical uh, legacy for somebody and many people in the future. You're building that forward-thinking legacy and history and memories of a kind that's just incredible.
And Randy, it's really well put. That's definitely, as a family and as a family business, we're not here for today. We're here for tomorrow. We want our clients to be friends ultimately in due course, and be able to call us for any help. We believe our product matches our service. We're really focused on our service as well. Um, actually, talking about history, um, not long after Mr. Palmer passed away, I was watching a documentary, and it was over here, and if it was on the Golf Channel, I'm probably going to say it was, but there was a picture or an image of him sitting behind his desk, and I'm pretty sure it was at Bay Hill, And anyway, there was a framed medallion, which is one of our core products,
Wow.
that was behind him, and I nearly jumped off the chair or wherever I was sitting in the hotel room, and said that's ours on the wall behind him. And I can tell you why I knew that is because in 2004, the Australian Open celebrated 100 years of the Open, and Golf Australia brought Mr. Palmer out to Sydney, and it was played, I believe from memory, it was played at the Australian Golf Club in Sydney, tournament that year. And there was a big gala dinner that he was invited to, as well as all the past Australian Open champions. And anyway, he was presented with this gold medallion, framed gold medallion that we'd produced for Golf Australia, and there it was sitting behind him on his wall in his office at Bay Hill, which was a great thing, and it's what we're about. So we're really excited to be trying to show a few more people our product and our company, and tell our story in January in Orlando.
Well, you and your dad are going to have to bring this to an end, but you and your dad have a great day today, and hope the sun is shining.
Thank you.
Don't have any of that liquid Florida fall on your head, and keep the balls out of the water. That'd be great, but just go enjoy being with your dad. And thank you for the time today, Chris. It's been great. And it's TandSmetals.com. It's TandSmetals.com. And look forward to Chris being at the PGA Show. That's where I'm going to be. And as we always say in our Golf and Travel, as my grandfather told me, always try to leave a better footprint, because you never know who's watching. So anyway, everybody be safe and healthy, and we'll be back soon. Talk to you later. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Randy.
But it'll buy you the world if you try. Like footprints in sand, let them sparkle before the next wave rolls by.